So now I'm going to go through our top 5 takeaways from the survey and how we're using this information to drive our ongoing development process in this and some related markets. So undoubtedly the clear message that we got is cost is king. Also, it was clear that there's no way to avoid the fact that both the technical and business decision makers are keenly concerned with the bill of material costs of their instruments and will continue to use component cost as a key decision-making factor. We also got the clear message, though, that there is a growing recognition that getting products to market more quickly is of great value, and partners that can take on subsystem level engineering to assist both the internal and outsourced engineering teams bring value. Lastly, being able to shorten the quality and regulatory segments of projects can have even greater impact on than shortening the design cycle. So how are we reacting? So in order to deliver the best overall value to our customers and help them to deliver the best overall value to their customers, we're focusing on how we can reduce the instrument cost, the development cost, and provide improvements to performance to help address the end process cost. To best help address the cost issue, we're focusing on productizing our ability to work as an extension of both the internal and outsourced design teams. The end result is that we're able to offer highly integrated modules that easily plug and play into the instrument. To address the quality and regulatory issue, we're able to provide guaranteed product life cycles to ensure the OEM the ability to reuse the design, which allows them to optimize their verification and validation and regulatory cycles for this project and future projects. So the second point, that automation is the future. Automation truly is a critical element for the future of all in vitro diagnostics and lab automation. And the adoption is allowing for optimization and further expansion. In addition to all the focused reasons that are driving automation in the marketplace, some of the other key values we picked from both the survey and the follow-on interviews were sample integrity, which in the end user's view consistently provided the most emotionally charged responses, process consistency, which is consistent with what we see in other industries due to the variation that can be induced by human interaction, and technician safety, which is arguably the most important foundation of any instrument, is aided by the automation, which allows for segregating the technician from the samples and the reagents. All of that said, total cost still needs to fall as a result of automation. So as an automation company, we're ecstatic that automation is critical to the future of the industry. So to best leverage the opportunities for expanding automation in this space, we're focusing on the #1 trending concept of modularity. So these modular solutions are focused on being configurable building blocks that reduce engineering and reduce the verification, validation, qualification cycle. The key is right-sizing and ensuring that these building blocks are not over-featured for the specific application. Additionally, they can be scaled to translate to parallel development efforts and reused for next generations. The focus is on providing drop-in solutions that integrate quickly into instrument designs. Lastly, we're positioning these modules so we can provide the guaranteed product life cycles and have the next generation covered from that perspective. So the third key point was the disruptive technologies. And disruptive technologies can either be scary or exciting depending on how they're going to disrupt your product and your business in the future. So both lab-on-chip and nanopore technologies reduce the need for robotics, but increase the technical demands on microfluidics, which falls directly into another area of strength for Parker. Internet of Things and on-instrument big data engines are areas of concern for both the instrument user and the instrument developers, The concerns that were most commonly expressed during our conversations were the concepts of device security and patient data integrity. So to ensure that we're ready for these technology shifts, we continue to partner with our Precision Fluidics division to more tightly integrate our fluidics and motion technologies. And with regards to Internet of Things and big data, our latest generation of automation controller can serve as an Internet of Things engine on board an instrument. So from a technical standpoint, we're trying to position ourselves to be ready for these changes as they continue to occur. So despite the fact that this is a very cost-sensitive market, there are ever-increasing opportunities to provide value because of the need for enhanced performance. There are specific applications in microscopy and spectroscopy that are driving the need for increased levels of accuracy. There are applications that are not constrained by biological processing times where speed is a real driver for reduced costs. There are applications that require the ability to handle changes in loading and a motion system that can react without missing steps or going into resonance. Lastly, there is a growing desire to have visibility to the status of samples at all times in the process, which requires a growing level of intelligence. In terms of reacting to this rising bar, our first area of focus is on making the transition to servo as a technology easier for customers to implement. When I'm referring to servo, we're talking both about servo motor technology and closed-loop stepping functionality. We're leveraging closed-loop stepper motors, which is helping to drive an incremental improvement in accuracy, dynamic loading, and the necessary level of intelligence to provide determinism for sample integrity. In applications require moving up to the higher performance servo motor technology provides a quantum leap in characteristics, particularly where speed and dynamic loading are pushing the technology. A technology relative to servo is the idea of direct drive, which provides all of the benefits discussed in servo while reducing extra mechanical components, which allows for shrinking the size and optimizing the performance. We're continuing to expand our investment in both our rotary kit servo motor product line and our linear servo motor product line. To truly optimize the performance of the motion, a holistic approach to designing the motion system is critical. So the last major takeaway from the survey and the interviews is the vacuum that exists from an engineering perspective as both the number of engineers and the desired time to market decreases. This is at the same time that the number of instruments required increases and the compliance requirements to get an instrument to market increases. So this is putting a great deal of pressure on the teams that are working to get instruments to market. Although these teams have been supplemented by outside design and manufacturing resources, communication is a challenge and at times adds to the vacuum of resources to get things done. So our reaction to this market driver doesn't relate to either a product or technology development, but the way in which we're delivering our engineering as a service. Our first focus has been on our internal process so we can operate as a true extension of the OEM's engineering team. So how are we doing this? We're aligning our stage gate process with the customer's stage gate engineering process. We've put dedicated project and program managers in place to run these projects. We have an advanced product quality planning process that aligns with the OEM's process. We've implemented a target cost process to track the trade-offs that are made between cost and performance so that we can have accurate costing throughout the life of the project. We've worked with our sister divisions globally to allow for a smooth transition of either engineering or manufacturing depending on where the OEM's desired location is globally. And lastly, we've wrapped all that in our culture of continuous improvement. Before we get to the question and answer section, I just wanted to thank everyone for attending. And hopefully you've gained some insight from this data